mate. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. These guys, these guys, I'm talking about the Ukrainians in this case, or the guys writing for the new Voice of Ukraine, just shot themselves in their balls, if they have any. So what happened? Let me show you the title, and then we can analyze it. I mean, it's so ridiculous. All right, I can't be too excited about it, I guess. Moscow seeks to hold its own quote-unquote peace summit, reports. This is from August 9, 2023, the new Voice of Ukraine. So it seems, first, I think this article will be, I didn't read it, will tell us how dumb the Russians are and how they will try to mimic the real summit held in Saudi Arabia by the weasel countries of the United States of America with Zelensky's peace process and all that. They're fantastic. Now, they look at it that way. I look at it a little bit different. And I'm going to ask you a question. And I'm going to ask these idiots a question. There were 40 countries that attended that summit in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, okay? Organized by the weasels. 40. What if Putin's peace process, peace summit, will be more than 40? What would that tell you about the world community? Would that prove that Putin and Russia's peace plan and is recognized by the world community versus the 40 states? Even in those 40 states, you have participants where China, India, and Brazil, that I can tell you they will show up at Russia's peace process as well, peace summit. So what would that mean? If Russia brings together more than 40 countries to its summit, they show more legitimacy to the peace process than the other guys. I have a balls feeling, or gut feeling that that will happen. I'm almost 99%, I'm 100%, but I will not say it. I will say 99% certain that when Russia will have its peace summit, there will be more than 40 countries attending it. Therefore, under the democracy standards, they have more legitimacy to rule, or their opinion, their side, was affirmed more than the other one. So they must be right. No? We'll meet again when the Russians will organize that summit, and they will have, 99% guarantee you there will be more than 40 countries. Let's see how many countries do I think there will be. About 100 at least. Why? Because you're going to have about 35 or 40 in the plantation, on the US plantation, which is about 50. So from 195, the current total number of states on this planet, you just subtract 50, okay? And you get to what? 145, let's say. So 145, let's say 45 countries are scared shitless. You got about 100, you're going to say, well, I think in the long run, we will be part of this club and we will be against the plantation. I am 99% certain it's going to be between 110 at the maximum 110, and about 85 or 80, maybe 90. That would be the margin of error. Let's say 20 countries. So let's say 90 to 110. Let's put it this way. Then what? Then where is the world community? On whose side? Will they call everybody else, those guys that want to show up at Putin's summit, as being criminals or endorsing terrorism? Or they will say, shit, we are isolated. We are not even 25% of this world population, not population, the world's number. We're, 40 countries, not even 40, right? If you take India, Brazil, and China out, let's say 37 out of 195, it's, let's say, 20%. So 20% of the countries of this globe participate in that. And in Russia, I'm assuming we're going to be about half of them, 50%. So what would that tell you? I will tell you what these guys will tell us. Those are bad people, and we are still the good ones. Why? And who's the isolated one? Remember, the United States says, we're going to isolate Russia, we're going to isolate Russia. Why? Because the United States thinks, unfortunately, that if they isolate 190 countries, they are isolated. Not the United States isolated itself from 190 countries. That's how the logic runs here. So when it's like, as I said, it's United States, Great Britain, and the vassal states, let's say they show up at a party. Let's say they're about 40, and they show up to a party made out of 195. So 40 guys show up at 195 and say, we're not going to talk to you. We, the 40, we're going to isolate you guys. So the whole thing is 140, 195. So that means you got 145 over there. You got 40 here. 155, I'm sorry, and you got 45 here. We isolated 155 countries. The 40 countries isolated the 155 countries. Now you tell me under what the fuck arithmetics that works. The Greeks are just rolling in their graves like this, man. How we got to this point. Logic, excellence, virtue. We got to this feel-good shit identify as garbage. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. So let's read this Weasel's article. That I'm guessing they're not gonna say, what if more countries will show up to Putin's BS? They're gonna call them bad. That's what they do. The Kremlin has begun to feel the threat of diplomatic isolation. This is wishful thinking. Following the recent Ukraine peace summit in Jeddah, 40 countries. So because of 40 countries, Russia feels diplomatic isolation. Can you believe that? Saudi Arabia and now wants to hold a similar summit on its own. The Moscow Times reported on August 9, citing diplomatic sources. An anonymous source among Russian diplomats told the journalists that while the meeting in Jeddah ended without specific decisions, zero, and a joint statement, it showed that Ukraine is trying to bring the countries of the global south into the dialogue while diplomatically isolating Russia. The global south, I made a video on how the participants. The global south were about 3 countries of the global south. 3! About 55 that the global south, I'm talking about Africa, are involved, okay? 3 or 4 or 5 out of 55. How many showed at Russia's Africa Summit? 49 of 55? However you turn it, the numbers don't lie to you. In this case, so these guys showed 5 countries from Africa. On the other side showed 49 or 48 from 55, which I think 5 are not even recognized as countries or something. And they were crying. Not all Putin was snubbed by these guys because not all the presidents showed up. No, but they sent the prime minister, they sent their foreign minister. They were represented. Their countries were represented. Whereas you got 40 countries, out of which 3 were out, as I mentioned, and you got about 18 or 19 from the European Union, Australia, Japan, and other weasel countries, and about 3 Palau, Kapalau, Tsapalau, Bubulau, and 3 African countries. Good job. Very fantastic. Ooh, I'm impressed. Jesus Christ. All right, so let's move on. Kyiv objective is to make these countries, if not allies, at least partners. They know what's going on, my friends. Then, if a general consensus is reached, it was not. It was not right here. Okay, everything stopped without a statement. Without specific decision and a joint statement. That's it. That means it was nothing. They just showed up, measured their cocks, and said, okay, let's go home now. Then, if a general consensus is reached, Ukraine will try to deepen it and will raise more sensitive issues for the formation of such consensus. This is exactly what is happening now. No. 40 countries, no. A source close to the Kremlin noted that the Russian leadership would have to look for some responses to Ukraine's new tactics. Now, let me put it this. Well, Russia was not invited in Jeddah, even though these guys lie and say they were, but they declined. Look online, just Google it. Russia not invited to Saudi Arabia Peace Summit, and you're going to find out all the good media telling you about. And I'm not talking about the Russian media here. Okay, so that's it. What's going to happen when those guys are going to show up again? They will call them bad. My friends, when I talk about the world community, they refer to about 2 or 3 countries. Always look underneath, the carpet and see, or behind the whatever curtain, and find out all those countries. Oh, more than 40 countries showed up at the summit. They're always the same. It's like a gang, like mafia. All these guys, they owe you something. They will show up at your kid's wedding. Oh, my kids and the kids are, yes, they showed up at my wedding. But all those guys owe the big boss something. That's why they came, not because they like you. They don't give up about you. They owe the boss, or they're afraid of the boss. The same, those guys that showed up over there, most of them were afraid, and they are signatories of the plantation, U.S. plantation, mind you. So I'm waiting, and I will use this video when the Russians will organize that summit, and when they will have 80, 90, and whatever countries, they will definitely have more than 40. Let's get that one. I will guarantee you that 99%. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I think we'll see. Time will tell. Patience is still a Greek virtue, but since we're not Greeks, patience is not a virtue. That's how it goes here, man. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.